Hello, this is Andrew Dugill with Hoffman Realty Tampa Property Management, and this is another in our helpful blog series for Tampa landlords. And this one's called What Type of Rental Property Should I Purchase in Tampa, Florida? Multifamily or single family? And this is part 2 in our 2-part blog. And in the first part the blog we talked about multifamily properties, and in this one we're going to talk about single family properties. And by single family, I mean single family homes. They could be townhouses, they could be condos, but they are not multifamily properties. And I've owned rental properties for more than 30 years, both single family and multifamily, and over that time we've managed hundreds of those types of properties for our landlords in our property management company. So let's look at the pros and cons of investing in single family property. So the first positive about single family is that typically your tenants are going to stay much longer than they stay in multifamily properties. Going back through 15 years of our records, we found that on average they stay about twice as long, and that really helps with the cash flow because vacancies cost landlords money. If you can keep a tenant for multiple lease terms, that is the best thing that you can do as a landlord and a property manager can do for their landlord. The second positive about single family properties is that they're very attractive, so when they become available on the market, they don't take very long to rent. And in fact, they rent usually twice as fast as a multifamily property. Another thing about multifamily properties that was a kind of a surprise when we did our analysis is that we found that the legal costs associated with single family properties were quite low. In fact, they were almost negligible, which really spoke to the fact that there weren't many evictions, there probably weren't any civil actions relating to the properties over the last 15 years, and that compared with multifamily, where the legal fees actually were fairly significant and probably should be thrown into an analysis, a monetary analysis of the properties. Now, looking at the negatives of single family property, they're almost the positives of multifamilies. So single family properties have higher maintenance costs, and that really is because there's no economies of scale. If you own, say, 4 single family properties, someone's got to drive all over town to service them, whereas if you own 4 units in a 4-plex, they're all right there, so there are economies of scale, 1 roof, 1 yard. Another negative with single family compared to multifamily is that there is less consistent cash flow. You know, if a tenant vacates, you have no cash flow. If you've got a tenant in there, you have cash flow. Whereas in multifamily, you have multiple units, and if you have a vacancy in one unit, it levels it out. You've still got income coming from the other properties. So what we recommend for single family landlords is always have a rainy day fund. You never know when a tenant might leave unexpectedly. We've had tenants die. When you might need a brand new air conditioning system that costs $4,000 or $5,000. So having something like that can really mitigate that negative. Another negative of single family properties is if you compare a single family property, what you pay for a given amount of income, you're typically going to be paying more with a single family property, and that's because you're competing with owner-occupiers that want to live in those properties, and they might pay more than you would want to pay as an income property. So to summarize, we think single family properties are great investments for anyone, whether you're an experienced investor or whether you're just starting out. We really like single family properties. Now, if you are looking to buy a single family property and you currently have a property manager, I would highly recommend that you get them involved in the process. They'll know really important things like how easy they are to rent in that area, what the rents would be. They could give you an estimate based on the type of property and the age of what some of the expenses, our maintenance is going to be, so you can really run some good numbers on the property. So this is Andrew Dugill with Hoffman Realty Tampa Property Management, and if you have questions about the blog today, please don't hesitate to contact us.